S&P 500 and NASDAQ closing at all-time highs. The Dow up, gold up, real estate.
Hey everybody, Jake here with TrendSpider to go over another video in the technical analysis series. Today we're going to be going over moving average clouds. You may have heard of these by following Ripster on Twitter. This is something that's really been evangelized by Ripster, and that's why we actually have named them the MA clouds by Ripster. So first things first, how do you add these clouds onto your chart on TrendSpider? You simply go to these three dots up here, and then you'll be taken to the Manage Indicators menu. All you have to do is type in RIP, and the MA cloud by Ripster will pop up. Click on that, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see that this new indicator pops up in your list. Now, I already have this on my chart, so I don't need to click apply to add this to my list. But if you do want to add it to your chart and you don't have it on there yet, just click apply and it will be added to your indicator list and you'll be able to use it from there. So I'm going to exit out of here and just go back to the chart. And the next thing here is, how do you use the MA clouds? How do you really get an edge using them? The main thing here is that they really will define the trend. So anytime this red, which is just the moving average 1, and this is essentially the shorter period moving average, is higher than the moving average 2, which is the longer period moving average, that is suggesting that the trend is up. So you can see that is derived here by showing this green shaded area, which is the cloud. And anytime that the shorter period starts to break down and close below the longer period moving average, that is suggesting that the trend is starting to break down. So this arrow here is just showing the difference between the two. As this red would start to move down towards the blue, you could see that the trend is possibly starting to reverse. Now, another way to use this is simply by looking at price action and how this relates to the cloud. So back in 2019, this was a great example, and even back in 2020, anytime the price started to break down and move back down towards the cloud, notice that we bounced every single time here. So this can be used as a function of price. Anytime the price gets around here, you can use this as possibly a bounce area, either as support or resistance, depending on where price is relative to that cloud. Now, going into the actual cloud, a lot of people don't use the moving averages here. They simply will just use the cloud because they know anytime that shorter period moving average is above the longer period moving average, it's going to be green. So if you want to simply just see the cloud and not these moving averages, all you need to do is right click the moving average, go to properties, and you'll be able to turn off the clouds here. Now let's go into the settings of the cloud and go over the different ways that you can make this unique to your chart. The first thing here is the moving average type. I have the exponential moving average here, and so with the length 1 and the length 2, I'm looking at the 20 period and the 50 period moving average. Now in this case, I'm on the weekly. So we're looking at the 20-week EMA and we're looking at the 50-week EMA. And you can change this. You can change this to the SMA. You can change this to all the different types of moving averages we have on the platform. And that's really just a preference thing and the type of trader you are. And same thing with the lengths. Depending on what time frame you're trading, the length is likely going to be different as well. In this case, as I mentioned, I'm just using the 20 and the 50. And for Home Depot, it's really been a pretty solid indication of trend for the weekly chart. Now, the next thing is the offset. The offset is actually showing you if the moving average is right in line with the most recent candle, or if you want to move that front or behind to the most recent candle. So you can see here, if I have the offset of 0, you'll see here that the moving average cloud is right in line with this most recent week here. Now, if we go and let's say put an offset of 2, we're going to offset this forward by 2 weeks. So it's really just dependent on what type of trader you are. There's a lot of different reasons why you would use the offset, but a lot of people also are just going to use the offset of 0 because that's in line with the most recent candle. The price source, a lot of people are just using the close for their price source for a moving average. Now we also have close dash right. If you're using the raindrop chart, the right bar is going to be your close on a raindrop. So the close dash right is simply pretty much the same thing. The close would be for your candle. The right would be just for your right bar on a raindrop if you are using the raindrops. Now, if you actually want to turn off the moving averages just to see the cloud, just click these boxes here, and if we click apply, you'll see that they go away, and you just have this simple cloud. Now, another way that you can edit the cloud without having to go to the settings here, all you have to, or the indicator button up here, all you have to do is go to the expand indicator list. This is where you can really change any of these settings or turn a specific indicator on or off. In this case, if you just click the three dots here, it will also take you to the settings, and you can change, maybe you want to have the moving average on there, but you want to have the line a little less thick. You just move these over, and you'll see that the line is there. It's just not as pronounced as it was when we had the stroke all the way over to the right. So you can do a lot of different things with the settings here to make this your own unique chart. And as I mentioned, the positive and the negative opacity are simply just showing when the cloud is green or the cloud is red. Now, the cloud being green, as I mentioned, is just when that shorter period moving average is above the longer period. But if you want to change this to orange, and then you want to change anytime that the shorter period moving average is below the longer period, you could change this to blue. It's really just up to your preference and how unique you want to make your chart, and kind of if you are maybe making your chart branded to your specific colors, this is a way that you could easily do that as well. So let's just change this back to green, change this back to red. Those are the default colors. Click apply. We'll actually turn off this cloud, and you'll see here that we now have this cloud. Now, also notice here, at least for Home Depot, the trend has been very much up for almost 11 or 12 years now. The cloud really hasn't gone to a consistent red since the financial crisis. So you can see here back in 2007 all the way to 2009 and into the middle of 2009, we had this red cloud. So this was clearly showing that we did have a trend change to the downside, at least on the weekly side of things. And you'll see here how price was really respecting this as resistance. So notice how the price could not get through this cloud for multiple years until we finally started to really break through it. And then this cloud started to become support instead of resistance. So it's not going to be perfect, and you may be able to optimize this so it does really respect the price action, or price action respects it perfectly. But that would be up to you to optimize those moving average lengths, and that depends on whatever settings you're using. So in this case, as I mentioned, we're using the 20 and the 50, and maybe if you're using the 20 and the 50 on Home Depot, but then you change it to, let's say, Amazon, you may have the price respecting these clouds completely differently. So it really just depends on what stock you're looking at and how those settings react to that specific stock. So all in all, the moving average cloud is really a general idea, gives you a general idea of trend in the market. It also can be used to look at support and resistance zones. As I mentioned here, back in 2019, we had this acting as support. And then you can see when the price finally broke through it and the trend changed, that was a pretty big signal that we were turning a leaf here and starting to go higher. Now, anytime this moving average cloud goes red, or pretty much the shorter period breaks down through the longer period, that is when you really need to think about the trend starting to reverse. So there's a lot of different ways you can use this. You're going to be able to use this on any time frame. This is kind of a fractal indicator, meaning you can use it as a day trader, you can use it as an intraday or a swing trader, or you can use it as a position trader, or even more as an investor. And you could use this maybe as your buy signal for longer term buys or sells. So hopefully this video is helpful understanding the moving average cloud by Ripster. We do webinars with Ripster every now and then and how he uses the cloud for his short-term and longer-term trading. So make sure to check our Twitter for that. Anytime that we do have one of those webinars, we will announce it. But hopefully this was a good intro video on how you can use the cloud on TrendSpider, a few different ways to interpret it, and different ways you can use it in your technical analysis. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out the next video in the technical analysis series.